Hey, what's up everyone? This is S and Reza from the S and Reza podcast, and today we've got a very special episode. We're actually on site at one of our listings with my good friend and home inspector, Tony Grillo from Housemaster. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. So this is going to be a very interactive episode where we're going to go from station to station to discuss some very important spring and summer home maintenance tips, courtesy of Tony's expertise. So we look forward to giving you this advice going forward. And if you like our content, please be sure to subscribe and share this channel with everybody else that would benefit from it as well. So Tony, tell us what we're going to talk about today specifically. What did you have in mind in terms of the maintenance tips?
Yes, Ehsan, and as always, good to be with you again. And today we'll talk about home maintenance tips, mainly focusing on summer and spring type maintenance. And maintenance, I don't have to tell you that maintenance helps keep your home in tip-top condition, makes it look good, and at the same time keep the systems working in optimum condition, as well as saves you money in big repairs. We'll keep it simple, easy to follow, easy to do type of maintenance tips, and we'll start with the exterior. First of all, you want to look at the roof, and I don't mean to say you got to climb the roof, because it's not safe, and especially this type of building, it's quite high. So you can use any simple binoculars, step away from the home, and look at the roof to see for any missing, broken shingles and so on. If that is the case, you need to call a roofer to get it fixed.
Got it.
Secondly, then we're going to look from top to bottom. You're going to look at the soffits. If there's any entry points for any raccoons or other unwanted guests that you see holes and stuff, then you look at the window caulking. That is this, to see that's intact. In this case, that's all good. You want to see the gutters are working fine and the downspouts are nice and secure, and they're draining away from the foundation.
Right.
You can prevent 80% of any water leakage issues in the basement by maintaining good slope around the foundation, away from the foundation, and directing any storm water away from the foundation. That's one of the basic things to do. And over time, you will see the soil near the foundation from the heat of the building does settle down, and every few years, sometimes you got to put some more soil to maintain the slope, so the water drains away from the foundation. Any pipe penetrations, no gaps around. You want to seal any gaps that are around the pipe foundations, penetrations areas. Gas lines, if there's any rust or corrosion, they can be painted easily enough. And then we're going to look at the foundation all along. Any cracks on the foundation could be a water penetration issue, so you want to see any cracks. If that is the case, then we'll look inside in the same area on the basement. Again, pipe penetrations, window caulking, maintenance item, that everything is in good shape. In this case, it is. I don't see no foundation cracks. Actually, one
Right there.
right here, something like that.
We just call our expertise and they would just cover it up.
Yes,
It'll be an easy fix.
There's multiple ways to repair a crack, but as long as there's good slope, it's less chances of any water seepage in there.
So regarding the downspout, normally what I see in other homes is they might have like a pipe that's extending further down.
Yes.
Does that help, or would this be enough?
That helps. You want to direct the water away from the foundation.
Right.
If you have these splash guards, you want to make sure they're sloped away from the foundation. Sometimes you'll say they're going this way and then the water is coming back towards the foundation. So whether it's a splash guard or an extension, either one is good as long as we are directing water away from the foundation. So we're looking for any vents on the exterior, any damaged vents and so on. So that becomes an entry point for birds and pests and stuff. So that's all good, and they should be sealed. All looks good here. Then the air conditioner, you want to see there's no vegetation around it.
Yeah.
It should be all clear. It should be in a balanced position, as well as any dirt or debris collects on this can be simply washed away with a water hose. You don't want to use any high pressure stuff because that can damage the fins. So it's good to just take a garden hose and wash it down.
And in the winter time, I do notice people usually cover it up with some sort of a seal or a cover?
Yes,
Is that
these are
recommended?
designed
Or?
for outdoors. You can use a cover,
Yeah.
but sometimes the covers, cause condensation and cause rust.
Right.
These are designed for outdoors, not a big deal to be left without that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes people put the cover on and then come springtime, somebody turns on the AC, then that's a problem. So you
Yeah.
want to make sure the covers are taken off before they're turned on for the spring and summer. And you want to keep any vegetation and stuff clear away from the house.
Okay.
This should be trimmed back. Same thing when you have a window well like this.
Yeah.
You want to keep them clear because any vegetation, any debris will block the drain.
So this should all be trimmed regularly.
That is correct, yes.
So
And
there's
if
no
you see
water.
any low areas, you want to put some soil
Right.
back there. These are the HRV vents, so you want to keep them clear and clean. This is twice a year. You want to check this in spring and summer, absolutely,
Got it.
yes. Twice a year at least.
Yeah.
This is an ongoing, you want to keep things under check, and it happens, you just need to clean up. And then same thing, caulking on the doors, GFCIs, you can test them
Yep.
from the inside where the control unit is, that the safety feature is working by doing the test and reset button.
For the audience out there that doesn't know what a GFCI is, what is that
It's a
exactly?
ground fault circuit interrupter. It is
Okay.
a safety feature against shock.
Yeah.
It's on the outsides and inside near sinks in the bathrooms and kitchens. And when we go inside, we'll talk
take a
about
look.
that more.
Perfect.
Okay, and then the other maintenance things you want to check around twice a year is the garage door operations. That is the safety features you got to check and everything else around it, the electric safety eyes and the spring and how to keep the maintenance on that. So we'll talk about that. In this case, right now, as we check, this piece is loose. That's a safety issue. This should be repaired. So you need to get a garage door technician to get that fixed. These are the safety eyes here. And when the garage door is coming down, the purpose is if somebody walks through during that time, the garage door should go back up. And this can be easily tested by bringing the door down and walk through it. And that will test that. And now a simple maintenance tip I'm going to give you is going to close the door. And I'm going to show you what you should do every 6 months to a garage door. In essence, the other thing is once every 6 months, you want to buy a can of spray oil and spray the spring once every 6 months. Keeps the operation smooth, and otherwise over time these springs get dry and they can snap.
Right.
And that's an issue. Then it's a bigger expense. So just a simple oil spray on that every 6 months and a quick oil spray on these rollers. And when you're opening them, you want to make sure the rollers are running smooth and there's no broken pieces and so on and rust corrosion on those. That's the other things you check. There is also a resistance test to be checked where you take a 2x4, put it underneath flat and close the door, and with the resistance the door should go back up. Otherwise it may need to be adjusted from the motor there. But because of this piece today, we are not going to attempt to do that to do further damage.
And I think that test is important, especially if you have younger children, because if you're playing outside, they're running in and out of the
Absolutely,
garage.
yes.
And you want to make that safety mechanism
It's
working.
it's a big door, and you don't want it falling and
Yeah.
causing injury. So it should be, these safety features should be regularly checked,
Right.
or better yet, once every year or every 2 years, you have a garage door technician come and do a safety check for you.
I would say I consider it as an investment into your home, where you're spending a little bit each year on the maintenance, but it saves you thousands of dollars of repair later on. And even beyond money, it's just a safety aspect of it, right? You're saving yourself, saving your family, making sure they're safe as well, which is why we're also doing this video, to make sure that the house is a safe place for you guys to live in. So we're done with the exterior maintenance tips now. We're inside the house, Tony. What are some things that we're going to be talking about while we're in the interior of the house for maintenance?
We're going to do the same thing as we did outside. We're going to start with the top, work our way down, finish in the basement, start with the attic. Attic is the uppermost portion of the home, and you as a homeowner, you don't want to go in there. You will just remove the attic hatch and take a flashlight, stand on a good stable ladder and look in there. And what you're looking for is if there's any leakage from the roof, you will see some stains.
Yeah.
And you want to look at the insulation. That should be a nice even blanket. If there's movement, if you see any burrows or insulation moved around, that could be sign of any pest activity in there. And in that case, you need to call that technician accordingly. But that is just starting with the attic. Then inside the home on the second floor, you want to look at all the windows that they're opening, closing, and if for the winter time you have taken the screens off, you want to put them back in, make sure the window cranks are working. And interior caulking, same way as the outside. If there's any gaps, that can be simple caulking job can be done. So we're in the kitchen now, and this is near the sink. That's a GFCI, ground fault circuit interrupter. As we talked about, it's a safety feature against shock. And it's a simple test. This should be done once a month, actually. There's a test button here. Just press test. And this, it clicked and the light came on. The amber light, that means the safety feature is working. And to reset it, you just press reset, the light has gone off. So the safety feature is working. Whether it's the exterior receptacles with GFCI or interiors, bathrooms, kitchens, this test should be done once a month. Kitchen exhaust fan, this you want to make sure that's cleaned. So for optimal operation, it should be kept in clean condition. You have a gas burning appliance, you want to make sure that the burners are working optimally, they're not partially working and so on, otherwise it needs to be serviced. Now we're in a bathroom. You want to make sure that the toilet seat is not moving. So that's secure, because a loose toilet is definitely, it's just a matter of time, a leak. So you want to make sure that is secure. If it is not, it needs to be done. Same as the kitchen, the GFCI, you want to check. And sometimes you may not see a test and reset button. That means the bathrooms are on one circuit and the control unit will be in one of the bathrooms, and it can be reset from that one. Or sometimes it's in the panel or close to the panel. And then the water shutoff valves, we don't use them that often. We don't turn off water. We recommend that at least 2 or 3 times a year you should turn off all the shutoff valves and turn them back on to make sure they're in working condition. Otherwise, when we don't use them, they and then we do need to use it, they start leaking and so on. So it's they're tested infrequently. They should be done more often. And one of the most important things in a house is that you have smoke and CO detectors. They should be tested at least once a month. And these days, the new ones, they don't need battery changes every 6 months like the older ones, but they should be changed every 5 to 10 years, depending on the models and makes, but tested once a month at least on every floor.
So Tony, we are now in the basement section of the home, and I often feel that the furnace, the HRV, is something that's often neglected by homeowners. But what are some tips and recommendations for the basement maintenance and also obviously the furnace, the HRV unit? What can you suggest to us?
Sure, absolutely. You're absolutely right. We see that all the time, that these are items that homeowners sometimes don't know, or first-time buyers and so on. So I'm going to show you where the furnace filter is, as simple as that. We're going to turn off the power to the furnace first. And this is the furnace filter. Depending on the type and size, you want to change this at least every 3 months.
Right.
The arrow on the filter should be facing the furnace. That's the airflow direction. So there's always an arrow on the filter that should be facing the furnace. So change it at least every 3 months. It's a simple change. Throw the old one out, put the new one in. You can buy a set of 4-year set for the year. So 3 months at least, if not more.
What's the purpose of the furnace in the house? I know it seems like a very general question, but for the new homeowners out there.
Yes, that's a good question. Furnace provides you heating in the winter time and cooling in the summertime. Cooling has 2 parts. You have the condenser unit on the outside and you have an evaporator coil here. And of course the fan and stuff is used from the furnace, and the ductwork is the same for heating and cooling. So it provides you heating and cooling during different seasons, or in between seasons when you don't need the heating or cooling, you just want air circulation. It provides that as well, where you can just have the fan on, not the heating and cooling.
Got it.
So that's the purpose. And furnace and air conditioner, in addition to changing the filter, once a year at least, you should have it serviced by a professional, so to keep it working in optimum condition, and that extends the service life of the furnace for you.
And because of the cost of goods going up and supplies, it seems like people should be more motivated to actually maintain their AC and furnace, because it does cost pretty, it's a hefty penny to repair and get a new replacement for these items.
Absolutely. And there's programs out there for maintenance, or you can have an HVAC professional who comes every 6 months or every year to make sure everything is running in optimum condition.
Now, I had one more question about this. We get a lot of calls from duct cleaning companies, and people think it's a scam. But in your opinion, what is the purpose of duct cleaning? Is that needed in a house?
Yes, it is. It keeps the ducts clean, but you certainly don't need it every 4 months, every 6 months. Once done properly, you can get it done every two years or so. That's sufficient. So let's talk about HRV now, heat recovery ventilation system. These are newer houses. The houses, because they're very tight for energy efficiency, this provides better air quality, brings fresh air from outside, pushes out stale air in the same amount, keeping the pressure same, and then it also recovers heat from the stale air going out to warm up the incoming air. So it's energy efficiency as well as better air quality, but it needs maintenance, and this is one of the most neglected items I see in my inspections is people don't know about this. So this is simply opening these 3 clamps. There's 2 filters here. There's one here, one there. They should be every 3 months when you change the furnace filter, you want to take these out, vacuum them, wash them in warm soap and water, let them dry at room temperature, clean this whole area, vacuum it, wipe it off, put these in, and then once a year replace these filters. And once a year you also take this whole core unit out and clean it and put it back in.
And is this someone can do on themselves, or do they have to call a
Yes,
professional?
it can be done themselves, or when they have the HVAC technician in for other stuff, they can do that. And when you turn off the furnace, make sure you turn it back on, otherwise your furnace or air conditioner will not work. That was a safety thing. Then the second thing is, another thing to keep in mind is that is the main water shutoff. In this case, it's the lever type, so that's not too bad. But when you have a rotary type shutoff valve, 2 or 3 times a year, you want to make sure you turn that off and then back on just to keep it working.
And if you're traveling out of town, do you suggest that we turn the main water shutoff valve off, or we keep it on?
Depending on the length of time you're going, that can be, but certainly you don't want to turn off heating cooling systems. That can be done, yes. And then you have the outside water shutoff. In this case, it's here. Before winter comes in, you want to turn that shutoff valve off to prevent frozen pipes and subsequent damage. In summertime, you can open them. And same way you have here, one for the front on the other side. And that's the electrical panel. That's the main shutoff. These are different breakers. Then you want to make sure it's always accessible, that in case you need to shut off or turn something back on, you have access to it. And when you're looking at it, all you're looking is that there's no burnt marks or anything. It's all fine. Not an issue generally in newer homes, which is the case in this one.
Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much, Tony, for doing this home inspection for us. It was very, very effective, and I think you saved lots of our audience thousands of dollars just by doing a timely reminder check-in for all these items that he showed to you guys. It's very important to maintain your home, especially, you know, if you're a first-time homeowner, because there are things that you can do on your own, and really it can, you know, determine the safety of your family, the safety of your home, and overall the longevity of your home as well.
Thank you, Ehsan. It was a pleasure doing this as always with you, always fun working with you. At the same time, we talked about simple stuff, but if there's anything that you don't feel comfortable doing, you can always call a professional. Or we also do maintenance home inspections. If you ever need that instead of you doing it, we do all this stuff for you. We can do that for you. Get in touch with Ehsan, or you can call us at 416-207-0040. That's Tony from Housemaster Home Inspections.
We will be doing a winter maintenance tip as well down the road, so look out for that. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode, and we'll see you in the next episode.